Exactly, and as we say that, Rails, we are already going live, so we're setting it off right now. It's going to be Team Solar System against Team Dahewanwan Ching Shui Dewey, and Solar System's going to go first as survivor here, Rails.
Indeed they are, and they're going to be dealing with a tri-cap hit coming in right now with that Smoker getting a pull after the jockey gets clear, but that Charger gets absolutely melted by the survivors as they push forward. Coach is going to get pulled for just a couple of ticks of damage there, but on a neutral game like this, MK, really not a whole lot going on that first hit. That's the start that Solar System wanted.
Yep, kind of similar, just like regular Dark Carnival. I think the first hit's really hard to get a lot of damage, so it's really try to get what you get, and make sure you get your sack order right so you get what you want for the next hit. And since that tank's at 43% here, Rails, let's see if they do get that Charger. So far it's Hunter, Jockey, Spitter, and do they get it? They're going to have that tri-cap with Spit here, Rails. It's a pretty good hit for each tank.
And they're going to send this most likely on the bridge, just because one feature of Dark Carnival Remix is that you can see where the tank is going to spawn based on those white lines that are right in front of that car, kind of intersecting the hood of that sedan. And these rocket spawns, especially with a tri-cap like this, it's definitely the most damage they could get. If they can get everybody down to 4 punches, they'll probably like that, because this tank is going to have to do some kind of hittable work. But the survivors are taking it slowly, as they should be, I'm pretty sure. And they're watching for that Hunter, who's already pre-spawned on top of the billboard. But the Jockey and Charger both going in from the front. Hunter is going to get the stumble into the charge with the Spit coming down on top of that, too. That's kind of what they wanted. But MK, honestly, that looks like even more damage had that Spit spread been just a bit more generous for the special infected there.
Yeah, I do agree. The Charger came from a mile away, but they have landed 1-for-1 charges, so let's take note that Dahewanwan Ching Shui Dewey is landing their charges so far, and see how much that'll play a little later as the first tank comes up in the hands of whatever the heck that is. And right now his support is going to be Smoker, Jockey, and a Boomer, as I cannot pronounce that name, Rails.
Exactly, yeah, and he's actually got 2 of his hittables right now that he needs really to get close to the survivors to have any kind of damage go down. He has to go for the hatchback, I'm pretty sure, too, because I think he actually has almost sight on them through that fence as they're working their way backwards. The sedan is going to go flying towards that fence. It's not going to land. The survivors are already backing all the way up. He's still on first pass to 100%. That's why I thought he could have gotten that hatchback, but instead he's just going to be proceeding with the one sedan with a Smoker, Jockey, and a Boomer for his SI support on this. Boomer spawns up and does get a single boom that looked like a double for a hot second there, but it is not going to be a double. That single boom can still get a decent amount of common to trail the survivors, but actually now he's on second pass with 65%. As this car is extremely close, he's going to be committing with this. Last spawn's going to be up as he's already in. He's going to rock the car forward just a bit as this horde is being dealt with too. He's down to 25% frustration with this hit going in. It's not going to be catching anybody. It is going to split the survivors in half as they back up towards the safe room. Smoker pull is not going to land. Tank is under 4k. Smoker is dead. He's got a corner on Rochelle for a split second, but she's actually getting out of this, and the tank is whiffing punches on her in that corner. Rochelle doing a beautiful job juking the tank there, but now the Hunter is going to pin her with a rock going down plus a punch. This is going to be most likely just a one in-cap tank. MK, that was hectic to say the least, but Team Solar System are in decent shape afterwards.
Yeah, and actually Solar System did a good job on dodging the car. The car did go on the other side of the guardrail. The tank did a good job, I thought, in letting it go and try to get what he could. But one thing to notice there, during that commit there, Rails, when the tank was in, nobody was shooting the tank. I mean, he was at 3,000 health by the time he reached the other side of the fence before they really shot him. They were focusing the common and the SI, but nonetheless, they didn't really get that much damage. And right now, it's 651 bonus post-tank, Rails.
Right,
look
and
this,
now
look at this fence jump. I never saw that.
Yeah, you can do that only after you've already crossed forward once with the choke. There is going to be a pull charge spit attempt, but the Charger is going to get cleared before managing to complete on that guardrail. And MK, I think the survivors made the right decision, honestly, during that tank fight, just because the only way to really get damage, unless somebody catches a hittable there, because you saw what happened with Rochelle getting punched and then not being cornered by the tank just by how much space was there. You know, you really need to focus on the common and the SI first in order to stop any of that other damage from going out. And if you have one in-cap like that, you're able to take the rest of these hits in a pretty comfortable spot. And I think that's kind of where the survivors are sitting right now when they walk into this 2-2.
Yeah, it looks like the Boomer's actually going to get popped nicely there, Rails. I think they're going to just hold for this choke point to see if they can try to get a reset. I don't know if they're going to be able to with the spawns that they have, those Rails. It's only a Hunter and Jockey and a Spitter, but let's see what they're going to do as they're taking the choke now.
Yeah, Hunter's going to go for the wall kick in the back and is going to get it with the spit being a little bit off, however, once again as the survivors kite their way into the bathroom, and that's going to be a dead jockey too. On top of that, they have the charger now, but no spit, and the survivor's going to be holding W, I'm pretty sure, as fast as they possibly can. Charger's going to spawn up in front, going for the solo charge in the open field on Coach, but he's not going to manage to land it, meaning that he's going to die and put the SI in a situation once again where they are a bit desynced MK. They're only going to have 3 spawns for this hill, and they're not going to be amazing for it, honestly.
No, you're correct. They're going to get a pull back. The smoker gets cleared right away. Now a jockey or boomer are going to sit here with the thumb up their butt deciding what exactly they're going to do. It looks like they're just going to hold here, Rails. And right now, Dahewanwan Ching Shui Dewey is a little off on their SI at this current moment, if you ask me.
Indeed they are. I was actually thinking that just before you said it, just because they are starting to send things kind of one at a time. If that charger had landed on Coach in the open field, sure, it's decent damage when it comes to it, but now they have to sync up, and they're going to have only this 2-2 prior to the survivors getting in the safe room, barring some kind of monstrous in-cap. Boomer is going to get a double boom in the back. Here comes the Hunter in the front, landing onto Coach, but the jockey is going for the survivors in the back instead. That could have been a vicious double cap up front. Either way, though, that 2-2 doing pretty much as much damage as it could have, I think, in that scenario, and they are going to have a little bit of comment on Ellis. Nonetheless, though, MK, the bonus is still right now at 501 total points as they're going to be making their way close to this safe room. That might have bought the SI time for one more hit.
Yeah, Rochelle's elected not to pop her pills, so they save the 20 points and see if they lose 20 more points of damage to see if it was a good call and hold on to the pills. And right now they're going to go in and not going to hit. Oh, the charger is actually going to land. The spit's going to land, Rails.
Rochelle's outside. She's going to go down.
It's going to go down. They should have popped the pills, in my opinion, there, Rails. Sometimes it's better to pop the pills than ignore that extra attack. Let's see how much they're going to have. Once they get the survivor up, they're not going to get any more hits. So let's see what they get, and they're going to walk in with a 460 bonus. So that actually costs about 50 points of bonus there, Rails. They should have popped the pills and went.
Yeah, I mean, those last 2 hits really did a decent number for the SI there, and they needed those after the hits, I think, directly after the tank were just a little bit staggered, like we mentioned. 860 points on this is not astronomical. It's a good start by Solar System that way, no pun intended, but at the same point in time, it's like, here's the ability now for, I don't know, it really does come down to this tank fight, and if that tank can get both of his hittables in play, it would be amazing to see any kind of damage like that happen. But at the same point in time, now if you're Solar System on SI, I'm excited to see exactly how they play, because they're one of the names that I do recognize from this team, from this field of teams for this tournament, and let's see if they continue their success on the Special Infected side, as we are now live with the second half of Map 1. Hit's going to be coming in. Charger is going to go for a double charge off that Smoker pull with a jockey going for Ellis in the back. Smoker's going to land on him now as the jockey's going to die from Rochelle, but MK, that is the kind of SI play you're looking for at this stage in the tournament off a hit like that. Double charge, double boom, and decent damage.
Yeah, so far, Dahewanwan Ching Shui Dewey has suffered a 2 charge, and actually a lot of damage went out there. Like you said, Rails, one survivor stayed at 100, did a good job on shutting down the jockey, the quick clear on the smoker. Even the charger didn't get a slam, but the boomer got some slaps as well with landing a boom. As the boom rockets in, does not land. The other spawns are going to go to the bridge, and I think they're going to wait right before they spawn the tank, and maybe even wait for that 4th spawn here, in my opinion, Rails. We'll see.
But yeah, and them landing that single there actually is going to help out on the SI side of things, just to slow Rochelle down to the point where it looks like T-Bar is going to be able to get his last spawn for this hit. Those common are vicious, even off that one boom. You see how much time it's taken the survivors to even get underneath the bridge, and now they're going to be dealing with the same kind of 3-1 that they were able to send on the last half. It's going to be a jockey, spitter, charger, and a hunter for Team Solar System, and they are going for those rockets once again because they know this will be the last hit before the tank is actually triggered.
Yes, indeed. And right now, it looks like Rochelle is actually going to be, I think, the only shotgun. They're going 3 Uzis. Usually you see 2-2. We're not going to see it this time. We're going to see 3 Uzis. As they send the attack, and Hunter comes from behind. Hunter lands. The charger does not, though. The spit went towards the charge target, which isn't getting no damage there, Rails. But, oh my gosh, some slaps going out. And actually, it took about 9% off their bonus there, Rails. I think that's pretty good.
Even with the charger missing there was still a decent bit of damage that went out, and now the tank is up into the hands of 1-2-3-1-3-1 for Team Solar System. He's going to be heading for those hittables as the survivors are trying to stay and play a little bit of chip, but it's not really going to be a whole lot going off of that whatsoever. And let's see if he can actually get both these in position fast enough. I think the other tank, as I mentioned, could have done that on the last half, but once again, with the survivors playing aggressive chip like this, they're going to be giving him sight as he knocks those in. He is actually only going to commit to the 1 sedan as well, with the survivors playing this aggressive, and the boomer gets nicely shut down there by Coach, as this hittable now is going to go over the top in towards Rochelle, but it's not going to land. Now the survivors can actually choose to play even more aggressively, and that's what they're going to be doing with a smoker pull going out, not going to land, and this tank is caught out in the middle here around this bush, but Coach is going to get punched for his trouble. It's 2k HP already off the tank. He's going to be forced to commit in this wide open area, pushing the survivors back towards the hittable. Rochelle is going to kill the hunter and is going to get punched for her troubles as well, as that rock goes in onto Coach for even more damage, and this jockey is not going to get much of anything. MK, that was honestly a salvage by the SI, but what an amazing play by the survivors to keep that pressure up.
Yeah, I do agree. It was a good job on them. They do pop a set of pills, and before they pop those pills, Rails, they were ahead after the tank by 6 points. So right now they are down post-tank just a little bit. They had actually they find another set of pills. So right now they're up 7 points between Solar System's Survivor round. So let's see if they can take less damage, as Solar System took 201 damage post-tank. Let's see if they can do the same thing as Dahewanwan Ching Shui Dui finishes her Survivor round.
Exactly, and these 3 Uzis that we're seeing them use here mean that Rochelle's going to have that not happen to her. Too bad for her. She is going to get jockeyed, charged, stumbled in spit, and have part of her health completely incinerated there on the survivor side of things. There has been no in cap yet, so this is all still health bonus being taken off the board, but that is obviously the higher part of the bonus balance there between health bonus and damage bonus. Everybody's still a target at this point for the SI side, but the survivor's going to be able to blitz through this choke, I think, right before the rest of the spawns are up. It's going to be a 2-2. Boomer, Hunter, Spitter, and Smoker. Boomer and Hunter both going in. Nice double boom in the back with that pounce landing. The spit is just a little bit late on that, but there's the alarm card being triggered, MK, off of that smoke below, and Ellis is going to be reset.
Yeah, the stumble did knock Ellis down the bottom, which is going to have him have to go around and take this choke again. But right now, Dahewanwan Ching Shui Dui have suffered exactly 100 bonus post-tank with 2 attacks. And right now, Rails, they have to take the choke point again with common, and spawns are up, and they have a tri-cap with boom.
Yeah, they need to really block spawns well on the survivor side of things here, just because if that charger's able to get behind them or someone's able to get like some random bathroom spawn or something, it could turn into an absolute mess. That boomer also has that spawn behind Coach there, and he's going to elect to use it, going in, getting the single boom onto him. There is no spitter, however, and the survivors, I don't know if they're aware of that or not, but they would probably like to get out of that room prior to that amount of damage being doled out with a spit hit. It's just a 3-cap right now with the last spawn still coming up. Indeed, the survivors are going to try to push into the hit. The charger and jockey get absolutely melted by those Uzis. MK, absolutely melted.
That's the example of having those Uzis just basically delete the infected. My gosh, the charger just walked in the door frame and was gone, and so did the jockey. So good job on recovering after setting the car alarm off and getting reset by Dahewanwan Ching Shui Dui. And now they're going down the hill here, Rails. They have a Spitter, Hunter, Boomer, Smoker. And this may be the last attack unless they send it really quick. It looks like they're going to right now actually Hunter's going to go for a wall kick. He does get it. The Spitter wasn't ready. Late spit goes out. Pull the Coach out of the spit, and that might be safe from Rails. I don't know.
Solar
It could be close.
Solar System are trying to go for a last-minute quad now on this, but Dahewanwan Ching Shui Dui has done a great job on Survivor side of just not allowing any of that other, any of the other things that have happened this map to really stop them. There have been a couple fortunate situations for them where the Spitter on the last 2 pounce attempts has been kind of off time there, and that would have been a bit more damage, of course, but even with those pinners landing, they're going to try to get their way inside here. Coach is going to stay outside, though, gets pulled as the jockey is going to go onto him now with the Hunter in the safe room for the intercept, and this is not what you wanted to see based on that last-second quad. Coach decided to stay outside while the rest of his team went in, and that's going to cost them just about another 70 points there. MK, very close match going into map 2. Dahewanwan Ching Shui Dui would have been winning without that last hit doing what it did, but instead Solar System's going to be up 860 to 832 moving into map 2. So an extremely close game so far, and just those little mistakes on both SI and Survivor side with that last hit for both teams being kind of a danger zone for them. That's really all that separates these teams so far.
Yeah, I think Coach would have had the safe room if he didn't bait out, but I know the feeling. Been there, done that, but Solar System, as you said before we get into the next map here, has been an underdog in the last few tournaments, Rails, and last week on Dead Before Dawn, They pulled one of the moves that would have been one of the most amazing moves I've ever seen, but unfortunately it wasn't allowed. On the map
They took a hit inside the box truck.
No, there was an
Okay.
event door and the tank spawned, and they baited the tank to the event door, closed it, ran the other way, and then closed it again, ran back the other way,
Nice.
AI'd it, but they left the door closed, which glitched out the tank, and they had to restart the map. But anyways,
hate
we're
to
going
see
live
that.
now.
Indeed we are. We have Solar System on the Survivor side getting single boomed off the roof there, but Nick is going to kill the Boomer before any other survivors get proxied. It's a Smoker, Charger, and a Hunter for the rest of the hit, with the Smoker looking for a pull to the hedges. Charger is on top. It's a 73% tank as well, worth noting on this map, as that will be decently late, and the survivors are going to have to preserve their bonus as much as possible. The Hunter is going to land. The Charger gets deleted once again, but there's really no spitter here, MK, so only 5 damage on the board from that.
Yeah, not much at all. I believe there might have been a little bit at FF, as the bonus is down to 97, so they didn't take much out of that at all, just like you said. Tank is actually going to be at 73%, so we're going to see a late tank. Smoker and Spitter are already up in rotation. The next 2 spawns are going to be Jockey and a Boomer. Actually, this is probably the worst attack you can get in the game rails, just my opinion. I think they should just go quick.
And no wall kick really here possible. Inside area doesn't have the Charger or the Hunter to set the survivors off balance whatsoever.
During this tournament match. Again, it's going to be a 2-2. Jockey and the Smoker are going to be the 2 cappers as they try to go inside. Spitter's going to go first, actually.
Double cap in the
that's
back.
actually good, Rail. There's going to be a lot of damage going out.
That's what I said. That's what I said really shouldn't be happening in a situation like that. I don't think the survivors were ready for it. Rochelle got jockeyed in the spit, and just nobody was clearing her because that double cap in the back with the Smoker pull from the tree, if that Boomer had landed, that would have been even more damage. But MK, that's why even as we talk about it, you can never discount a hit from a team that's made it this far in the playoffs, and that's a great job by the SI to capitalize on a hit that really doesn't normally do a whole lot of damage. And now they've got an even better hit for inside with that Charger, Jockey, Hunter, and Spitter combo. Hunter is going to get the pin, and here comes the Charger as well with the double charge in the spit on both Nick and Coach. That is a tremendous amount of damage. MK, this is spectacular.
Yeah, Dahewanwan Ching Shui Dewey is stepping their SI game up from the first round. With a 2-2 rails, they got 19%, and not only on top of that, they took it on top of that 19% from 78% HP down to 49% HP, and it's pre-tank nonetheless, Rails.
Exactly, yeah, and if you're Dahewanwan Ching Shui Dewey, you have to be happy with all of that. And they're going to kill the Boomer now, too, for either the quad or the spit hit in the alley, with the Jockey, Smoker, Hunter already being in the spawn queue. There's really only maybe 2 more hits before tank, but they're actually going to send it now to have one, I think, when the tank spawns. Hunter goes first, Smoker is on top of the roof, sort of just waiting around, and I think it's because they want to have a Boomer for when the survivors spawn tank, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think it's actually a good call here, and they actually have a pretty good attack right now. They have a lot of separation. I wonder if they're going to send it in before the tank, or if they're just going to try to wait, and maybe even the person who gets to spawn. It'd be they're going to attack right now. Smoker pull goes forward, it lands, the Charger gets melted. Jockey comes a little late from behind, it's not going to find anything, as a free spit goes out for a delay, and they should be able to get this tank up, and they should be running back down the stairs and out by the merry-go-rounds to fight this tank. Actually, just to go off the top right here.
I don't think they can do that. I don't think they can do that. And yet they kind of have to stay forward, in my opinion, because they don't have the health to take this all the way back and take 2 in-caps or something. So they're going to be fighting it here. And the tank for Dahewanwan Ching Shui Dewey is going to commit pretty much immediately, as this Jockey is also here. Instead, he's going to throw a rock from the roof. I think he was looking for a stumble there, but the double boom does go in with the Hunter spawned up too. I honestly think he could have sent it there. The survivors really aren't in an amazing position. He's going to have other support. And I don't think this is good at all for Team Solar System, because they are damned if they do, damned if they don't. They can't go back down. They're in the open field. The tank has sight. They don't have the Uzis to chip them. There's a double boom, and they can't really move from here, MK.
Yeah, that is correct, and they only have 1 set of pills left, so there's going to be a survivor with only 3 punches when this tank commits. As they're going to send the Charger in to try to get a reset, the Charger actually goes for somebody else. Hunter gets a separation pounce inside while the pull forward gets cleared relatively quick. And that will make Rochelle slow, and they're going to have to pop that last set of pills. Actually, they found 1 rails. They have 2 more sets.
Yeah. The thing, though, is that the survivors are bleeding, so this is really, really not good for them. Rochelle is already going to have to commit her pills now, even before the tank comes in, but with both her and Coach bleeding, if they can actually, on the SI side of things, just extend this as long as possible to get somebody slow. They could guarantee a wipe with still like a 5k or a 4.5k HP tank, and that's exactly what they're doing right now as this next hit's coming into view. Boomer is going to get a single boom onto Rochelle. Charger is going to whiff the reset attempt again as the rock goes in, but now the survivors are going to be forced to LOS, and they're also going to be forced to distribute that last set of pills as this tank is just going to keep the bleed out game going, I think, for as much as possible. They could even second pass rock tank this at this point if they really want to, but this is looking bad, I think, for the survivors in general.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. They're going to have three survivors, 3 punches in a minute here, and then 2 of them are going to have to, or only 1 can pop pills, so it's going to be pretty easy pickings. Even though the tank has lost about 1200 HP, right now his support is retro, and let's see exactly what they're going to do with it, as that Boomer looks like he wants to come from the front rails, and everything else looks like it's coming from the rear, I believe.
Exactly. Let's see what the hit does, as the tank is going to be content taking a decent amount of chip onto Ellis. I'm not sure how I feel about him going for the free rock, just because that is free chip at the same time as he's keeping sight. He's on second pass now, down to under 4,300 HP. The Boomer spawns up on Ellis's side there and does manage to land with a rock going down onto him as well, but it's not going to land. It's going to get skeeted, and the tank is on second pass. 90% frustration with a single boom going in, as the survivors now are going to try to go to the room downstairs with 2 survivors bleeding out to the point where I think they will be close to just being 2 punches there, and instead of going outside, they are going to be forced to stay inside now with this tank and a full set of support going in for Dahewanwan Shui Dui, as the tank is going to be in. There's 1 survivor already split, that being Coach, kiting the tank around before he goes slow. Really nice job by Team Solar System. The tank has no one until right now, that being Nick, getting cornered by the tank in the outside alleyway, as the tank is going to be able to get a decent position on him as well. Jockey lands in the back onto Rochelle, and now the survivors are going to be forced to try to get this pickup, but the rock lands onto Coach as he is underneath the awning. This is a terrible spot for any survivor to be downed in, because these curve rocks are just possible to shoot them as though they are fish in a barrel, with another rock going in capping Coach. There's the tank dropping back in. If I'm him, I'm not dropping there. If I'm him, I'm staying up top, but either way for Dahewanwan Shui Dui MK, what a fantastic tank. That is not over yet, as the charger lands onto Rochelle for a bit of spit damage, but Rochelle being on that bench is the only thing saving a wipe, MK.
Yeah, actually, I think they killed the tank on purpose to make sure that last spawn was a spitter rail. I don't know. I think it was a misplay. I think he keep that tank alive, but that's the only thing I could come up with why he dropped the tank in to die, because that last spawn was a spitter, and unfortunately they couldn't delay the pickup due to the benches there, so I think that was a little bit of a misplay, just in my opinion, on the infected side.
Yeah, either way though, like the rest of that, the tank was getting kited around by Coach inside, but then was able to get Nick because Nick was outside as the rest of the survivors went inside to try to kill the tank. It was great SI play, and that's going to be a jockey landing, but a nice skeet going out by Nick, as Rochelle is going to get incapped by the smoker on that hit. The survivors, they are in a tough spot with that double charge going out too, where the incap is going to go on to Coach over the side. It's a reset charge. MK, the SI by Dahewanwan Shui Dui is utterly incredible so far.
Oh my days. They actually find it. I don't know if that was the pills they were holding, but they have to pop that extra set. That will actually make... they found another set of pills, Rails. I don't know where they found it, but...
Boomer just went for one of the widest arc booms I think I've seen in quite a long time, and somehow landed on nobody. There's going to be a quad attempt again here, and there is 1 survivor black and white with 1 set of pills still left for Solar System. They're in rough shape, and now they're going to try to just eke out as many distance points as possible after what has been an absolutely bruising SI round so far that doesn't have any signs of stopping, with this quad attempt coming up now. And we have 2 of the spawns already pre-spawned on the roof, now 3 of the smoker joining in. Jockey's going to be leading it, however, as the charger goes into, with the hunter managing to land, and there was a punch that went out from that whiffed charger too, but the smoker was not able to find a target, MK, and the survivors are somehow still alive.
Yeah, that's going to make their second survivor black and white, but he had pills, so both of their black and white survivors are above 60 HP and fast. The other 2 are not. One's at 12, one's at 5. So, like you said, I think at this point, if you are Solar System, you just want to touch the safe room door and just get as much distance points as you can, because it's going to be difficult to make the safe room with 2 survivors black and white. As they get a pull back onto Rochelle, gets cleared before the incap, and right now it's a Boomer, Spitter, and a Jockey all by themselves.
Honestly, I think the SI might be a little bit disappointed just that the survivors aren't dead at this point, because they had that tank in the position that they did, where maybe if they keep it alive for a couple other rocks, it would have been impossible to get that pickup there. And now it is just a bit of distance still being made by Team Solar System, but it's that sense on the SI side of like, we should be killing them, you know what I mean? And I think they need to just keep hitting in sync as they were before and not mind the fact that the survivors are getting a bit more distance off this, because then now they have a chance on survivor side themselves to do something incredible. Charger is going to lead and get shut down. There's the M2 on the jockey on this quad. The Hunter and Smoker both land, but once again, Solar System are alive.
Yeah, actually, even though Dahewanwan Ching Shui Dewey is going to take all their bonus away, even though Solar System taking so much damage, I wonder if momentum still will remain with Solar System because they're making it to the safe room and with how badly hurt they were halfway through the map. That's one thing to note. You can never know.
Yeah, exactly. The Spit's going to go down first on to the survivors, and the Charger is going to get cleared with a double boom going in the back, and the jockey just jumping into Nick's face, getting M2, making the safe room off of that is a great job by Solar System to show the resilience. There's no bonus, but they get full distance, and for Dahewanwan Ching Shui Dui, though, I think they need to just replicate the performance they did on Survivor side first round, where they would have been leading, right, going into map 2 had that last hit not happened. They can say that they can do better than that. It's only 500 points already without the map even being played, right? So they can just basically play survivors naturally as they need to, don't get separated, don't try to rush it, and then they can probably do a better job on that tank, but it depends on how well they're able to do with the hits beforehand, if they can go back or not, because the best way to kill that tank is to drop back down like we mentioned and actually go back, but if you already have, you know, a survivor and a half bleeding, it's really hard to do that in that area, as we saw last half.
Indeed, as the opening attack that Dahewanwan Ching Shui Dewey will have to deal with, it's going to be Charger, Smoker, Boomer, and a Hunter. There is no Spit, so I'll be curious to see if maybe they try to do a pull forward, charge them all the way up the stairs to see if they can get some damage on them, or just try to make sure they get those sack orders right. Actually, the Charger is not going to, falls off the back, the Hunter gets cleared right away following a pull, Boomer gets popped, Charger's going to die last, so now it's going to be no Charger and no Smoker for the next hit, and they'll have the rest.
I love that play by Nick, too, to use the dumpster to kite the Charger there. There was no way that that was going to land because the Charger had to jump and then he was able to move out of the way. So nice job mitigating the damage on that. And now it's going to be something like a 2-2, I believe, again, for this next hit.
I see the Spitters up first, the Hunter and the Jockey and the Boomer. It's not quite the same 2-2 that Dahewanwan Ching Shui Dewey have. Oh, what a shutdown! You see that skate?
Yeah, that was like a wall skeet there by Ellis on the Hunter, who was planning on wall kicking. And here comes the Boomer, going to get a single boom off the roof, but that's the only thing landing. And Ellis now with that melee is going to try his best just to push through the rest of these common with really not a whole lot of damage going out whatsoever. And because those cappers died first the way they did, I think we're looking at a quad attempt in some form here from Team Solar System, as Dahewanwan Ching Shui do keep pushing forward as they are. It's not going to be a spit hit, I don't believe. Indeed, it is going to be the quad from the survivors are going outside. So far, this is the kind of momentum shift that I think you would have wanted after an SI round that we saw last half, and if they can keep this up on the survivor side of things, they're going to be in a fantastic position to shut that tank down as well.
Yeah, I agree. Right now, I think they know there's a quad coming, so they're taking their time. But one thing to notice again, Dahewanwan Ching Shui Dewey runs 1 shotgun, 3 Uzis. So that's one thing to keep into play. It's going to be difficult to shut down all the Hunters not having 2 pump shotguns, just in my opinion, as they are taking a very cautious time with this quad with the SI Solar System once it's sent to the right point. Smoker looks like he's going to come from behind. They might rush him. Everything else is now up. The bull lands, a charge lands, the Hunter lands, but the Smoker gets cleared. Jockey and the Hunter went after the same target. So the Jockey will land for a little bit more in the back, and that's going to be a quad dealt with, Rails, and that's 3 attacks. 16% bonus. They're averaging just more than 5% per hit.
Damage, but I mean, the survivors were ready to go back inside as soon as they heard the special infected spawn there. There was just no way for all of that to land at once with how they were positioned. Like you mentioned, the charge did manage to connect for a split second, but everything was cleared quite fast, plus the 2 SI going for the 1 target made that kind of impossible. There is now a 2-2 with a charge spit for this. Boomer Smoker being the other 2 spawns, 14 Solar System, but this should be most likely the last hit before the tank spawns, unless they decide to send early and then save something for the rest. But the survivors are doing a good job as well of just playing at their pace, baiting it out, making the SI hit when they're ready to go forward. And with that 3-1 style, right, with the 3 Uzis and 1 shotty, they kind of need to do that, where Ellis is playing point here. and just doing the best that he can to shut things down. He chips the boomer, and then he's going to get pull charge spat for his trouble. That is the one disadvantage, I think, of playing with a setup like that, MK, when the shotgun goes forward, because there is only one, and now we actually have a spectate on the spitter there, just because I suppose the survivors weren't killing it quite fast enough. What I was going to say with the shoddy Uzi combination, though, is that because it's just one shoddy, and you know they're going to be in position one, it's possible to capitalize on them like that and get some kind of pull charge scenarios going in.
And right now they're split. One person dropped, the other three did not. So they're going to be forced to drop it. See if the SI try to make a play on it. They're going to right now. The boomer gets a snuggle.
Oh, and there's a survivor up top! Oh, but that's not even the way. Listen, we'll talk about this in a second, because this is now looking like a wipe and an incredible recovery by Team Solar System to capitalize on that. MK, there is a safe way that you just need to drop down. If you see those two parking blocks that are stacked next to each other in the alley, next to the graffiti that says, I'm not sure what that says, but at the same point in time, you don't need to do any of that. You don't actually have to drop off that roof. You can just drop down and go all the way back around, as I'm pretty sure you know, but for those who are watching, you literally just can avoid that entire thing by going back through the alley and then jumping over the parking blocks. That's all you have to do. That did not have to happen whatsoever.
Yeah, I agree. And Ellis dropping down first from his team kind of forced the other three survivors to have to make a difficult decision, and it didn't work out. As right now they are trying to AI this tank, and I don't think they're going to get it. They're going to have a tri-cap with this tank, and Vega's going to roll in barely. He'll have like 30%, and this is going to be it, Rails. Let's see what they can do with this. They have a tri-cap, and if they get wiped here, they're going to be down quite a bit. The Charger's actually going to land. Gets cleared, though. He gets his corner, the smoker gets cleared, Jockey's still running around, but it's going to be an in cap, and this tank's going to have about half his HP, and right now the Jockey is chasing down. He lands! Oh my goodness, Rails is going to be a wipe. He gets a punch onto Ellis, he punches him a little far away, he gets his pills off! He whips another punch!
Ellis is juking this tank around, and now he's down to under 1k HP. Rochelle needs one more clip on this, and then she needs to get close to the dude with the deagle, but she's too far away, I'm pretty sure, to actually get cleared. That was almost a salvage by the survivors for Dahewanwan Qingshui, but unfortunately that intercept by the boomer plus the Jockey plus the Charger with the full hit up, Ellis was dropping off, ready to block things underneath, and that should have been a tank shutdown in the open, but it's the SI side of Solar System who are able to maintain that lead. MK, I honestly do think it was partially a map knowledge question, only because it's so much safer to take those two, like, artificial stairs in the back that those parking blocks make rather than dropping off the roof, because the roof is obviously also possible, but I don't think the rest of the survivors were ready for that. They were trying to figure out how not to take fall damage, and they all kind of clustered directly next to where that boomer dropped off. That's definitely going to be an opportunity that Dahewanwan Qingshui are going to want to have back, I think, at some point, because it's still a very close game, but momentum-wise, you just hate to see that on Survivor side.
Yeah, I agree. The tank had no way to cut them off either, so I think the survivors were overthinking it. Or like you said, the map knowledge comes into play, but like you said, going over down the stairs, through that little room, going around the back, jumping over those concrete little pillars back there would be so much safer, and they had the health to do it, just like you said. But nonetheless, they're going to go down about a little bit. What is it, 200 points or 195, I think it is, going into map 3. So it's still anybody's game. It's going to be a tri-cap with Boom, and the the Jockey will not be included in this first hit, as we have a pre-spawn Hunter up ahead. Smoker's going out. He gets a pull onto Nick. It's cleared right away while the Hunter lands. Charger lands. Does not get a slam, and the 2 Boom will go at the end, and they're not going to have a Charger and a Boomer in the next hit, Rails.
Either or not, and I don't think they mind it, because this tank's going to be at 17%. If there's a point for Dahewanwan Qingshui, you just completely forget the last map, turn around, and make a play on this. It will be right now, as that tank is already spawned after the first hit. And obviously, the tank can commit from above the survivors using that, and I'm not 100% sure if the SI are going to know that, but even for him to get there, he's going to have to cross in front of the survivors' faces with the Hunter, Smoker, and Jockey for his support, and indeed he is going to cross directly into that vent, as I mentioned, with just the Jockey dying. MK, this is a huge tank already in this game.
Yes, it is, and the tank has a work cut out for him. He has 3 survivors that are going to be 5 punches, so let's see if he focuses Nick and tries to get the quick in cap, because Nick is going to play forward here, and not because he is the shotgun player. That's another thing to note as well. So I think it would be a good play to see if he can corner Nick quick as fast as he can, since he's only 4 punches. But they're going to have a Charger, so it's going to be tri-cap on this commit here, Rails. No Boom.
There's going to be 2 shotties for the survivors as well, which I think is good in this area, and the tank's going to take a bit of chip through that vent, but he's actually still trying to break it with a rock. He has to punch it as he goes in, but he's not going to do it. Now he's going to manage to under 5.5k with the commit already in, and he's going to be trying to get Ellis in this corner, but Ellis is juking him around the heart sign. Tank is under 3k with nothing. The Charger, however, is going to land on the Smoker target. Rock lands as well. Hunter has landed on Rochelle in the corner too, as the tank is down to under 2,000 HP at this point, whiffing a punch there onto Nick, missing another punch onto Nick, and he's going to get that punch finally onto him. But MK, that's a 4-punch tank, mostly shut down. No boomer on that commit. And even with the SI lane the way they did, the Charger landed but took the Smoker's target, and that's really all they wrote in terms of damage for that.
Yeah, I mean, they did some decent damage with the tank. They got a set of pills down. 44% of the bonus is already gone. It is an early tank, so they have a lot of the map to go through, plus a coaster event. But as the 2-2 comes up here, they have a charge in the jockey rail, so I think it's not too bad for attack. But let's do a bonus check post-tank. 745 post-tank. Let's see how much they can hold on to.
Yeah, and with the distance points on map 2 and map 3 here being 500, if a team manages to make the safe room when it's difficult to do so in these events, they will be heavily rewarded. That Charger is going to die. M2'd on the jockey. Boomer has nothing. Spit gets a couple ticks of damage, but that is all we're going to see as Coach is going to reposition with the rest of his team. I'm making it the scenario that I am, though, when it comes to the coaster and all that, because that now is the one obstacle still, I think, that prevents the survivors from reaching the safe room. But if you make a map like this with bonus, you'll be in an amazing position to take the game, honestly.
Yes, I agree, and they are going. They're coming up on about 45% of the way through the map. They're going to actually have a quad for the tunnel here. And it looks like the infected are completely content with waiting till they come out, because I don't see any of the ghosts around the survivors at the moment. And I think it's a good play though, Rails. They're waiting a long time to hit again, but you're not going to land a quad inside this close area.
Exactly, yeah. It's just, you can't expect to have it land really on anything, but especially when it's a neutral game like this with both teams with green, Dahewanwan青训队, you're going to have to wait until the survivors are in a better spot. And there is going to be a baiting timer with this. You've got the 2 shotties in front looking for anything close, but by the time that baiting timer goes out, they're going to need to look for some kind of stumble, potentially off the roof, I think by either the jockey or the hunter, in order to make this happen, really.
Yeah, and it looks like the Charger and the Hunter keep moving where they want to go from. Looks like they're content with the Charger from behind with the Hunter. The 2 cappers are up ahead. Smoker looking for a pull forward. Jockey wants a rocket from the head. They spotted the Hunter, and they are going to hunt him down.
Yeah,
this is a big misplay. Huge misplay by the infected. Hunter's going to land.
Yeah, they're trying to send the rest. It's just broken. The hit is just absolutely not there now. And the Hunter was pre-spawned behind. I actually would have preferred to see the Hunter come from outside to go from one of those stumble play scenarios. But now for Dahewanwan青训队, the entire SI nexus is kind of broken right now, just with that last spawn still not being in. They're maybe going to try to send it with 3, but I don't think this is really going to work. Charger is going for an open field charge. Not going to get it. Smoker's going to get clear. The jockey's doing his best to pinball around against M2 in the face, and the boomer is going to be the last thing to go in. Does get a double boom, but MK, this is momentum on the side of Solar System at this point.
Yeah, they waited so long to hit with that quad, and they just throw it away with the pre-spawn Hunter, making a little bit of a misplay, and also failed to even retreat to get a respawn, so they just kill it. And not only that, they only sent 3 SI attack when there was 2 seconds left on the spawn timer from the HUD.
And that's actually a pretty decent setup for it. The Smoker really needs to hit the sweet spot there for the pull if he's going for some kind of in-cap pull between the rail sections that you can see the coaster going past right now. But the Charger's actually going to be spawning from behind too, looking to get some really good damage on the survivors. Smoker spawns it from the side, Imagine get a pull onto Nick, and now the Charger's going to go in from the back, landing onto Nick and taking him forward with a spit going down on top of the Hunter instead. That's an in-cap almost onto Nick with that last slam not hitting, but look at the spit and how Ellis is able to dodge that, MK.
Yeah, actually, I thought it was going to be a lot more damage than that. They took the bonus slightly under 500, but right now, Solar System is set to take a really commanding lead if they can walk in with this bonus here, Rails. And I think there's only 1 or 2 more attacks left on the map.
Exactly, and this is kind of what I was talking about, where if your Team Solar System, if they can make it with this, then they're going to have complete control of what's going on, especially after Dahewanwan青训队Survivor side last time, unfortunately not allowing them to match that performance on map 2. Hunter, Jockey, Smoker for this. 1 other spawn still coming into queue, but the Survivors are going to rightfully, I think, push that button before that last spawn is up, and now there's going to be a decent amount of horde, but they need to make sure they don't somehow get quadded, because that's actually going to be the hit. Smoker spawning in front, but the Hunter once again has pre-spawned in the back and is getting shot long range by those Uzis. The Charger's now looking for something too, but the Survivor's going to be content. MK just stand up here, kill all the Horde, and just not get quadded.
Yeah, I think they did the right play going back up here. I see a lot of teams do that. Just all they got to do is block spawns, get rid of the commons. They do have a pre-spawn smoker though, unfortunately. So I don't know if they're gonna. And this smoker's almost dead. He's down to 17 HP and he's dead. Yeah, now they only have 3.
How cool
Yeah, and now the rest is going to be coming from behind, it looks like, with everything going in. Charger is going to land for a split second, but another amazing clear off that chip level. This is Solar System's match to lose at this point, MK, just from what we can see. And it's once again on those quad attempts. It was the Hunter on the one in the tunnel, and then the Smoker being crouched behind that tree getting deagle picked. That really was not allowing the SI to do much of anything they wanted to do. This is still 477 bonus, 2,336 points to 1165 in favor of Solar System to this point. And Dahewanwan Qingshui do need to shut down this tank and need to do the same thing, because like I said, you cannot bank on map 5 for a comeback.
No, it's really hard to make distance points in general on map 5. Unless you're down like 100 points or 150, then it might be possible. But if you're going into map 5 down 500, you're not going to have almost any opportunity to make a comeback. It's very difficult, as that finale is very long with how many different places you have to go to trigger all these different types of events as we go live. Opening hit's going to be the same as before. Hunter, Boomer, Smoker, Charger. And that's all they're going to get pre-tank. Let's see what they can make of it, Rails.
Indeed, now I'm interested to see exactly what support Solar System wants for this tank as well, as the Survivors are going to be engaging with this Hunter first. It does have a scratch M2 trade with Nick, as the Boomer's going to die second, and they're going to have Smoker and Charger saving, it would seem, just for a split second. Smoker dying now, Charger really just going to have to wait for the end, as he actually manages to land onto Coach. He's going to get the 10 damage, but no slam. And honestly, MK, in this area, I kind of agree with the call if you're looking for a Boom to commit this tank with.
Yeah, and one good thing to note is, and even though that Charger didn't land, it didn't get any slams, but the most important thing it did is it made that Survivor 4 punches. And right now, all the Survivors except one are going to be 4 punches now, with that free spit going out.
Exactly, yeah, and this tank for Solar System now is up. This is going to be interesting now because the Survivors are playing aggressive, kind of like they did on map 1 to stop him from getting this transition, and indeed he's now going to take just about, almost actually 750 chip off of that push. And I like the fact that Survivors are staying aggressive for their part. The Boomer's going to die, and they kind of need to do that, where they need to try to get some kind of momentum and control back on Survivor's side, as this vent has now been broken. But Nick also needs to not back up directly into that spawn and get himself cornered immediately.
Yes, I mean, and for granted, Nick is not the one that's 5 punches. I thought maybe they would put that one, but they like to go 3 Uzis and 1 shotgun, Dahewanwan Qingshui Dewey. So they don't want to put that Uzi up front, but right now, with where they're positioned, I don't know if they can clear a pull forward on a Nick really quick. I think they'll get a quick corner. Let's see if that's what the Smoker wants to do, as this is going to be the commit right now. And indeed, there it's going to be, just like I said, they get the corner right away. He punches Nick and switches targets. He is down to 3k health already. He's trying to get his corner onto Rochelle, and Ellis is getting juked by Ellis. Nice job getting juked. Oh my gosh, this tank is almost dead. They got to send the support in right now, Rails. Rock goes out, and Rock does land. Hunter lands. Now he gets his corner. It's 2 punches, and that might be it. No, he gets his 3rd punch, and he actually gets an end cap out of that, Rails. It was almost nothing.
Yeah, that early pull that you were talking about did indeed happen, but once again, it was a case of the tank punching the Survivor too far down the hallway and then deciding to change off of Nick to the other Survivors instead, which I think was the right move. But on both sides there, we saw, I think it was the person playing Ellis both times, managing to juke the tank extremely well using that placard in the background there with the hearts on it, right? And it's like, so, okay, when that happens and the tank is getting essentially railed that entire time, then it really did come down to that Hunter landing, plus the tank managed to get a rock in the corner onto Ellis eventually, but Dahewanwan Qingshui are still very much alive in this game. We do have a pull going back onto Ellis with Spit going down on front onto Nick there as he was M2ing a jockey, but MK, this is kind of what they needed to do, and there's the M2 and the shutdown on the Boomer as well.
Yeah, and I believe that's going to be a quad stack, so they'll get a quad try for the next hit. And now this is another thing to note here, Rails. Remember how long Dahewanwan Qingshui Dewey held this quad for? Now, it's Solar System's opportunity to take control of a quad hit. And it's really not the best to hit with this inside, but I don't think they're going to wait till they come outside with this, because they have this quad a lot sooner than Dahewanwan Qingshui Dewey did. And here they're going to send it in right now. They actually all get down the hole, and let's see what they do. No, they're just going to send everything right away. Charger, it does land. Smoker misses.
Pounce.
Hunter gets killed. Oh, actually, the Hunter does land. I missed that. I'm
That's
sorry.
a massive amount of damage on Nick. Yeah, he was, and Nick was the solo shotty who was far there. He needs to hit that skeet in that scenario for that to work out. You know, Dahewanwan Chingshui have been playing aggressively on the Survivor side this entire game, which I think has worked for them. You know, except when they had that one transition on map 2, but in a position like that, when you know it's going to be a quad, if that Hunter doesn't die, then that's exactly what happens. And the bonus is already down to 582 at this point, with Solar System still having a bevy of hits to send. Jockey is going to be jumping off the roof, going for Ellis behind. Ellis actually going to get smoked, and then Jockey with a tri-boom front. This is disastrous now for the Survivors, because this Smoker is going to be able to basically cover exactly like he just did, and Ellis is going all the way back in the tunnel. MK, he is going to go black and white because he was also the Survivor who was incapacitated by the tank, and it's a 2-2 off a massive amount of separation that is doing just absolute work right now for Team Solar System on the SI side. And with this, only one set of pills, one Survivor perma-slow, one Survivor black and white. Hunter going in again, landing onto Nick with that Charger, and Boomer just waiting, and now it's absolute smash mouth SI play that is working so well for Solar System here.
Yes, and now they've just committed their final set of pills. The Boomer gets another 3-boom. It's back-to-back 3-boom. Charge, Spit are alone. Let's see if they're going to... Looks like they're just going to hold here, Rails. They're content. Actually, no, they're going to send it anyways. Charger's going to land. Spit's going to land. And that's going to be the DB suffering, and it's another in cap.
This
no,
is
we didn't go down.
unfortunately...
I was wrong.
This is unfortunately what I was saying when it came to Dahewanwan Chingshui doing Survivor style. Because they run 3-1 like that, and because Nick is their constant position 1, you know, you kind of saw that happen, I think, last map a couple times too, when they know when someone is coming forward like that, and they know that they can basically predict him the way that they did. And so Nick has been getting abused, and they don't really have the damage bonus to be able to do that anymore. It's 3% DB, 43% health bonus, so all the bonus right now is on Rochelle and also on Coach. This is really, really precarious now for Dahewanwan Chingshui because they have to go through this entire coaster with one person slow, and they have to keep feeding Ellis, and they still haven't downed Nick. As the Horde's gonna start, this could be dangerous, because if he gets in cap with just one scratch or one common hit like that, this could turn into a wipe, honestly.
I agree. I think maybe they should have downed him first. I know why they didn't want to. They didn't want to have him just have that one in cap and have the DB go down, or actually completely deleted by that point. It goes down 5% every time someone goes down, but right now they have a pretty good attack. Tri-cap with Spit, and no Jockey Rail.
Nick is still valiantly leading this with his 1 HP. We have a pre-spawn Hunter in the back, this time dueling Coach with that Uzi, but there's the Skeet. Nick is still alive up front. The Smoker is also dead, so this is actually a pretty blown hit by Team Solar System right here, as the Spit is going to finally get Nick incapacitated, but at the same point, this Charger is now looking to make some kind of play with some kind of bowling opportunity here because Nick is down where he is, and there is the bowling charge onto Ellis for the death, and the in-cap onto Rochelle. Oh my goodness, I saw that happening almost in slow motion. There's the Jockey going out too. It's because Nick was not in-capped far enough forward to block the Charger spawn. Ellis literally just took a rocket to Venus and then died.
Oh my goodness. I saw the Charger land, but I know that my ping is high because I'm further away, but on my screen, the Charger was on the wrong side of the Survivor, and it hit him for no reason, but it's probably just server because I'm lagging. But that was amazing attack there, Rails. That's huge for them. Dahewanwan Chingshui gets wiped with a chapter score of 1528, and Solar System has 2,336 Rails. That's a pretty good lead.
Yep. This is, as long as there's no like immediate early tank wipe, this is Solar System's game to lose absolutely at this point. And Survivor side for Dahewanwan Chingshui just has not gone the way that they needed it to. Like, you had the little bit of damage that was inflicted near the safe room on map 1 that was unfortunate. It's like, okay, but then that disastrous tank transition on map 2 is really what set it that way. And then, if you notice, right, and the thing is, I really appreciate the 3-1 setup still with the one shoddy, but with how SI teams play nowadays, they are able to predict that shoddy so well and be like, okay, if we can get the guy who can one-click the Hunter, pulled, and then charge, or something like that, right, then everything else kind of falls into place. So it's all down to how that shotgun's able to position that way, and the SI were reading him perfectly when it came to a few of those hits last map, so it's deeply unfortunate for Dahewanwan Chingshui. They have a 58% tank that they need to wipe at absolutely on their SI round here, but good on Team Solar System for showing that cohesion. As we see the bait go out here as well, Charger is not going to land. The Jockey does land onto Nick for a split second, and then Rochelle jumps into spit for a couple ticks of damage, but MK's Solar System proving how they've gotten this far in this tournament, and also how they're on course to winning this game right now.
Yeah, it looks like they're definitely in the driver's seat. Like you said, it's their game to lose right now. The Spitter died last, Charger did die first. They'll get a Charger, they won't get the Spitter. So they're going to have Tri-Cap with Boom. Charger will be one of the cappers, Hunter's going to be the other, and his final assistant is going to be the Jockey. So they have Tri-Cap with Boom, no Smoker, and Survivors are starting to slow down. And one thing to notice is that Solar System slows down when the attack's up and clears the common compared to Dahewanwan Dui, just holding W into the commons, and I believe that's the little bit of the misplay that happens here as a Boomer gets popped, and right now the cappers are undecided on what they want to do as a pre-spawn. Hunter chases. They go in right now. Jockey lands in the front. Hunter's going to cover. Hunter gets skeeted. Charger will land. No slams will come out of it, but that Jockey is taking someone for a ride and taking Nick all the way down to 39 HP. Yeah, he's slow now, right?
Well, that's the kind of SI play that you need to see from Dahewanwan Dui prior to this tank as well, because if we actually do manage to go to map 5, the only way I think that's going to make actual sense is if Solar Systems die like decently early in the map, and then Dahewanwan Dui pull it back on Survivor side and actually make the safe room. That's the only way I'm pretty sure we see this happen. That hit really does help the SI side's chances, because I think there's only going to be, once again, maybe a hit and a half prior to this tank being spawned. The Boomer's going to die. It's a Hunter Smoker Spitter for the rest of this, and yeah, the tank's going to be spawning on the roof, so this should be the last real hit, I think, by the SI. It's not a very good one. Hunter does manage to land with a pre-spit, however, once again onto Nick, and Rochelle was also caught in that just a little bit, so it's still a good fight from the SI, of course, in this situation, but they need to make a big play happen, MK.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking about. They're going to have a tank and the wide out in the open, so this tank is probably going to get his hittables in play. And knowing with what part of the tournament we're in here, Rails, if this tank takes too long for his hittables, they will AI him. And they have the health to do it, sort of. I think they have still 3 sets of kills. I think they would still do it.
And they're already looking, like, they're not looking for any of the early chip. The tank's going to have to follow. It's a Charger, Boomer, Jockey for the support, at least right now. And you know what? I think the Survivors might be saying, even with this health, they're just going to do it. There is a single boom going on to Rochelle, but the tank is still very, very much in view. I haven't heard him whacking any of his hittables around, and actually he's going back now to go for one of the dumpsters there. This could be bought. If the Survivors know that he came forward and then is now going back for hittables, they could easily W back to the safe room and just bot him. But, and I think, I don't know if they're going to try to do that now because they know that hits up too. It's a Charger Smoker Jockey, but they're looks like they're actually kind of going that direction with the tank still struggling to get this one dumpster in. In this field, you can get Death Punch here, you can get In-Cap Punch, you can get waylaid by a hittable, but the Survivors are going to choose to fight him here actually instead of going back to the safe room. So this will be quite interesting. The Smoker is already spawned in the front as well, going for Rochelle but not hitting the pull. Nick is also looking for something over there. He's going to actually manage to M2 that Smoker away as the tank is down to under 4.5k HP with a dumpster still looking to be hit, this time splitting the Survivors in the opposite direction. Charger is going to go for an open field charge, not going to land it. This Jockey's getting M2'd by Coach, but now manages to land onto him as the tank is also fairly close. Jockey's still going on to Coach with a rock, not landing onto Rochelle. They're going to be pushing to clear him at this point. There's the in-cap onto him, but that is going to be with that last punch onto Nick. All the damage that tank is going to get, so a pretty hectic tank fight, MK, but no wipe.
No, they do manage to get his in-cap, and all the damage they did to Nick pretty much has all his permanent health gone now, too. The DB is broken into, but right now, if you are Solar System, I think I would be content with all 4 Survivors getting to the safe room with no bonus, actually, so they're still in the driver's seat pretty well at the moment.
Yeah, they are, and it's really hard to make a big play happen in that open field if you don't get multiple hittables and if your SI doesn't help you set that up, honestly. So they're going to be sacking for the quad because they know they need it at this point.
Yeah, I think at this point, since they did sack for the quad rails, it might be a while that they wait for, but I think they need to wait for when they have to come out of the from under the pavilion on the inside, actually, where the bathroom stalls are at. I think when they have to transition from out of there, it's very hard to get every angle covered from Survivor. You can rocket spawn in from many different angles, but let's see if that's what they're going to do, or if they're going to send it right when they start this event.
Well, one thing that I've noticed on the quad attempts from Dahewanwan Dui just so far in this match is that they really need to have things come from different angles if at all possible, because what Solar System have been doing is they've been liking to hold that S key, as a lot of teams would want to do in that situation. So they need those rockets, and they also need to be able to get something behind them in order to make this work. But the survivors are all in a room at this point, with there really being no chance of getting hit inside there. They do have 2 survivors bleeding and no sets of pills, so there can be a bit of a waiting game, but they're looking to just wall one of those SI and also not get caught by the common, because now they know the hit's going to be coming when they push out from underneath this awning. Let's see if they're able to get anything to happen on the SI side. The jockey is dropping in the back. Smoker's going for a pull into Nick, not going to land it. The Charger is getting hit, and the Hunter is in underneath. Charger's going to land, Smoker's going to land. Jockey's looking for something too. There's 1 pound from the Charger, but once again, MK, there's no wipe, and you kind of saw everything again in a really tight area where the survivors were able to get that Hunter clear very efficiently.
Yeah, I think all the SI coming from the top were a good idea, except for the Smoker. I think the Smoker should have not came from the top, because then you're relying on at least 1 survivor being out in the open in order to land that quad. So again, I think it was a little bit of a misplay from Dahewanwan Dewey, which is also easier to say from McAllister. As a nice skeet goes out, what a shutdown! A little team fire goes out there, but they're just gonna hold W. They're not even gonna turn the button off. They're just going.
All right, you know what? They've decided to absolutely W through all they can here. We have a spectate going out with someone trying to skip the death timer real fast, but unfortunately for Dahewanwan Dewey, this is looking like the end of their run in the Luo-shen Invitational tournament, solely because Team Solar System are going to be very close to that safe room with only 3 spawns up. They didn't hit the button, so they don't need to make it harder on themselves. They did just a bit with the rest of the common coming in the way that they are. But this Hunter's going for a wall kick onto Coach with a smoker pull going out. Jockey lands as well onto Rochelle. Hunter is looking for it in the safe room. The Charger lands onto Ellis. This is a tremendous amount of damage right at the end to keep some form of hope alive for the SI. MK, that was almost a quad, and I can't tell you why they didn't turn the button off.
I don't know, and they're not going to save him. They're just going to leave. They're going to leave them both die and be content with that bonus that they have on that green survivor in there. Rails. They're going to walk out with that, I believe, 118 out of this.
Okay, so the only way that this comes back to haunt Solar System is if Dahewanwan Dewey shut down the tank and then make the safe room with some modicum of bonus, of course, because it's going to be 500 distance points, hypothetically. That would draw to 2025, and then depending on the amount of health that they would have, they could make them pay on that. But even with that, 2 people dying at the end, it's still 616 points for the chapter, 2,952 total. And if you're Solar System, maybe you think, all right, because of the lead that we have here and how well I've been playing on SI, who cares? Get the maximum amount of points possible, hold W, make the safe room, and then put the pressure on the other team to try to do something that they haven't done since map 1, since they weren't able to make map 2 or map 3.
Yeah. But one thing to note, Rails, that they might play Finale, but I only see them play Finale if Dahewanwan Dewey walk into the safe room with a bonus of at least 650 minimum.
Yeah, they would want to be close, because the Finale, like I said, you cannot bank on bonus on that map whatsoever.
Now, it has to be less than 200 points to be even worth trying. I would say even less than 100, actually. But
yeah,
it's really hard to make up points on that as attack the survivors have to deal with. This might be this might be actually the end of the match round right now, but Spitter, Jockey, Charger, Smoker, other spawns up, and Dahewanwan Dewey are going to take their times. They're still going to run 3 Uzis and 1 shotgun. One thing to note, just like you said, Rail, to see if they pick on that shotgun player. As the Smoker goes out first, completely misses, or the Charger just charges off the railing away to try to save its life, and it's actually going to. And yeah. I think we see a respawn on everybody here, except maybe the Smoker.
Now that from the SI is not what they've done the rest of this game in terms of attempting to, and you see the kick vote coming out on the SI side too, just because someone must have said go, and then everyone went in as the Spitter and the Charger are having fisticuffs literally on the roof. Right, but that was too early, obviously, by the SI, because nobody was in position to actually get hit. They do save the Charger, and it is somewhat injured, because it's down to 475 HP in Ghost Mode. It probably could have despawned again to try to get something like that, but they do have the Hunter Boomer Spit 2-2 on top of that Charger. Let's see if they can make something work. On the SI side, just a bit better than that first hit.
Yeah, and it looks like they're taking their time. Nick, again, still his only shotgun for Team Dahewanwan Dewey, so he is actually not taking point. Coach did for a minute. Now Nick is retaking the front position. As he tries to get wall kick, Hunter's got to skeet that, and eventually they do kill it. Charger gets melted, and they do kill the Boomer and Spitter last, so they're going to get a quad try before the tank. And I think this is the perfect opportunity to try it, Rails, because once his quad fails, or no matter what it does, the tank will be up next hit.
Oh yeah, and if you're Solar System, I think they may have taken their feet off the gas just a bit when it comes to some of this, right? Where it's like the first couple hits really didn't do any damage to speak of. The survivors are now on the open field. This tank still has to do a decent bit of work because it's not the hardest event in the world if everybody's fast and still has bonus. This is going to be the quad attempt coming in, however, with that smoker pull landing in the front. Hunter lands in the back. Charger is going to whiff. Jockey was looking for some kind of intercept. That's a bit better damage than what we saw, but no devastating quad attempt going out, and all survivors obviously still high green health, over 80 HP for each of them prior to this tank fight being anywhere near happening, actually, still, because there is one hit, I think, still to be taken by the survivors, which it would be good to get all the survivors down to 4 punch range, of course, but then it really is going to depend on where they take it and if the tank's able to get those dumpsters in play to make anything huge happen.
I guess I'll take this here machine gun.
Yes. One thing to see if they're going to try to AI him if they hear him punching anything. So it's one thing to note to see if Dahewanwan Dui will do that. As right now, spawns are coming up from behind. Indeed, they're going to pounce the back ones or try. The Uzis get the shutdown. Jockey gets M2'd and killed. And that is a good job. Right now, no one has that boomer spawn. Let's see if anybody watches it before they spawn the tank. No, they don't. They're going to walk right into it. Okay, it's just a 1 boom. They could have been much worse, but Spitter and Boomer die. And now this will be the final tank of the game for Solar System in the hands of Tabar. And let's see where they take this back at, Rails.
Yeah, if you're down this much and you need to guarantee the safe room, this might be a case where Dahewanwan Dui decide to try to take the tank all the way to the safe room to AI, or at least somewhere further back. If they catch a dumpster here, this is pretty much over, unfortunately, I'm pretty sure, for them, because, you know, if they even manage to get a kill, that would be enough to do it. And indeed, because of the score differential, the survivors are going to be working their way backwards, going for some kind of AI. This can still be dangerous, of course, however, because they have to take a hit on the run back, and then if they deal with a 6k HP tank with a quad, for example, that would be a non-ideal scenario for them to deal with. But they're actually going to counter-push the tank, going back into his face. I don't know how I feel about this, because there's a lot less space where the survivors are at right now. Nick is going to get immediately pulled for his trouble as well, and all the SI are on him, with the Charger landing and taking him all the way away. The 3 Uzis are trying their absolute best to get this clear, but they're not going to get it yet, so there's the first in cap, and the tank still has 3.5k HP with 1 survivor down. The Uzis do kill the Hunter as they're kiting this tank. Smoker is going to go for a pull and is not going to land the punch for the tank off of that first hit. At least the tank is still alive with just 1k HP, trying to push Ellis, getting a rock on Rochelle. Good amount of damage going out. Not quite the end of the game yet, MK, but obviously that area where the survivors decide to counter push has so much less space for them to work with, and there is a decent amount of damage coming out of that tank.
Actually, Rails, I think if Nick didn't get separated and decide to go left with the survivors, I think that tank will have nothing because the smoker wouldn't have been able to reach him. I think it was a little bit of a misplay by Dahewanwan Dui, but again, it's easy to see the misplays when you're sitting here watching the game from all the angles we have, so yeah, it's completely different when you're playing the game as I have a 2-2 with Charger and Jockey for the barn hit coming up.
They were trying to stay aggressive, too, on Survivor side, like they have the entire game, where it's like, okay, we're going to think that we're going to go back, and then we're going to counter-push them to try to catch them out without any hittables, which they almost managed to make happen, but it's been, when you're playing with that kind of style that aggressively, if one thing goes wrong, everything can kind of fall apart. Charger is going to land onto Ellis with the spit, going down on top of that, as Rochelle is still dealing with that Jockey, and the Jockey is now dead. But, as I was saying, MK, you know, on a few of those plays by Dahewanwan Dui, it's come down to just a couple of inches or 1 skeet being hit or something like that, which is usually what it comes down to when you play that way, where if Nick, like you said, is able to kite back with the rest of the team and at least not get smoked, it's a different scenario. But instead, Solar System do a decent job capitalizing. This isn't anywhere near over yet, though, because Dahewanwan Dui still have 3 survivors in high green, everybody fast, and nearly 700 bonus.
Yeah, I thought they needed at least 650 for it to be thought about being played, and right now they're close to dropping below that, but they still have a little bit of way the map to go through, Rails. I think if they're all fast and take these hits good, 3 more attacks could be the minimum, depending on how well this next hits go. This is probably the biggest potential for damage, in my opinion, right here.
Exactly, and they might try to use Nick as some kind of damage sponge here, and indeed he is going to be playing that first position shoddy once again with the Smoker, Charger, Hunter, and Spitter waiting to capitalize on this somehow. Smoker's point from the Ice Machine in the back, it looks like Hunter going for a wall kick. Charger lands immediately though onto Rochelle, but does get cleared as Coach is on top of the place where people usually either throw out garbage or ash cigarettes to avoid that spit damage, MK.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know where it all came from, but look how much damage it actually took, though. It took 121 points off the bonus, actually. They managed to find out quite a bit of damage from it, but they still have 544 bonus. I do think they're going to have to take at least 2 more yet, Rails. They have a tri-cap with Boom, Hunter, Jockey, and Charger are going to be the cappers. As the Jockey is already pre-spawned up ahead, they do officially turn on the button. Charger's coming from behind. Rocket Boom goes in, gets a nice 3 boom. The Charger will miss. Hunter lands but gets proxied off. Jockey does land, gets cleared right away. There were some pretty quick clears, but the damage has been done. They have 436 bonus, and I don't know what they're going to do with this Charger at the end. I think the Charger should have just died.
At this point, they're hoping for one last-minute charge spit hit as the survivors are still pushing forward. There's still commons even though they've turned the button off. And the Charger is actually going to be inside the safe room waiting for the survivors right here. I don't think they see it either. Here comes the charge! Getting the triple charge in the back as well because of that Charger pre-spawning inside. The Spitter was not ready for that, but look at how much damage it does. Now the Spit's gonna spawn up and manages to block outside the safe room. Nick is caught in it as well. The survivors were not expecting that charge whatsoever, and MK, the bonus, is down to under 280 as the survivors work their way in. 2,952 to 2,301 in favor of Team Solar System right now. It looks as though we will be moving to a map 5 potentially, but at the same point, because of map 5, I actually don't 100% remember what the distance is on that, but it's still going to be quite tough to see it come back in this position. I mean, if you're Dahewanwan Shui do it, you want to keep playing it because this is your last chance to win in the tournament, but they absolutely then will need to get a wipe on the early tank, which usually spawns before the event, usually. And then they have to do the entire gauntlet when it comes to the gas can, plus hitting all the buttons, plus going on the stage, and all of the stuff that they'll need to do to actually make the comeback that way. It is still possible with this amount of distance as well, but if they don't get that initial wipe, then it's pretty much over.
Yeah, and actually, it's only 600 distance for this map. I thought it was 7. I was incorrect, so it's 4. Map 1's 400, then it's 500, 500, 600, 600. That's actually a pretty low-scoring campaign, if you ask me, in my opinion. Not a lot of high opportunities to make up a massive amount of deficit if you have a big delta going into the finale. But and they have a 651-point delta, Rails. It's going to be very hard to make a comeback on this chapter.
But yeah, and this tank's going to be at 38% too. For those that are unaware, it's been a decent amount of time, I think, since we've seen this finale played. It always is quite entertaining because of all the things the survivors have to do. And the first one, of course, is that they're going to have to put 3 gas cans into the generator to then advance this train and then spawn the tank. You can see where the tank's going to spawn. It's an open field, very hittable tank. If there is to be any kind of damage done by the SI side, right, it's going to come from that tank, basically using his dumpster / any hittables that he's got in the area to do much of anything. But the SI have the opportunities maybe that they need to make this happen. Charger is going to bump off the wall as the Jockey and Hunter do both land. So that's a decent amount of damage onto Nick. Definitely would have been better had the Charger managed to connect, but here is the first scavenge event already being dealt with by Team Solar System. Let's see if they can get these cans in fast.
Reloading.
Yeah, looks like 2 of the survivors are already out there. Then they do go 2-2. 2 shotguns, 2 Uzis. A little bit different. And, actually, did I just completely whiff that? Actually, they have 3 Uzis. That would have been correct. Now they're going 3 Uzis, Rails. It confuses me. So they're actually taking it for this part of the map. I think it's actually a pretty good idea, Rails, because it's an open area tank, so I don't blame them for taking 3 Uzis and 1 shotgun for this area, as a Hunter is making noise from above, and Charger, Boomer, and the Smoker are frantically trying to find something, and without a Spitter, I think they just go here, Rails.
Yeah, and it's a triple cap attempt with no spit, so no can burn is really expected. There's a single boom, though, going out onto Rochelle with a Smoker pull going out in the back. Charger's going to land onto Ellis as well without the slam as the Hunter goes down on Rochelle. It's a decent amount of damage by the SI so far, but there's also the tank spawning right before they actually put in the rest of these cans, and there's 7.0 0% left until the horde starts, but that's actually kind of ridiculous because I thought the tank was going to spawn after they moved the train instead of now. This is earlier than we actually expect, and I haven't seen a tank fight in this area in quite a long time, if I'm being honest.
I don't think I've ever seen it, Rails, to be honest with you, just from my POV. I haven't casted many matches on Dark Hover Remix as they are content with bringing that gas can with them and burning it on the tank. Actually,
light the tank on fire.
Yeah, it doesn't work though, only if he stands in it, but you never know. You can still get a little bit of damage on it, but it looks like they're changed their mind and they're going to leave it there. And see if the Boomer tries to send that thing flying, even though they don't have one. Right now they're going to send the attack and try to get a rock. The Hunter does land. The Charger gets a punch on Rochelle, whiffs. Jockey gets M2'd, and then the rock gets skeeted. So no rock goes out, but just a little bit of more chip onto the survivor's health as they are going back to the safe room area.
Oh my. Okay, now this I've never seen. This is new for me, and I don't know how I feel about them fighting it in that spot for one reason alone, and that's the fact that a Boomer can spawn literally everywhere around here. Nick and Ellis are going to try to block the spawns on the top, but if this tank, especially because he hasn't been chipped, right? He still has 5,800 HP. He can get a lot of damage here as the Boomer spawns up and gets a single boom onto Nick. I think the Common can pass up there, but Nick's actually going to be going out to try and shoot the tank as the commit's going to be in. This is for all the marbles when it comes to the Torment Lives of Dahewanwan Shui as Nick is going to get cornered with the help of that smoker now. One more hit is going to incap him, but the Hunter's going to die from the Uzi. Tank is down to just under 1k HP. He's got 2 more punches on Nick, but that is all they wrote for that tank fight. MK, I was quite concerned for the survivors, at least at the start, just because if that Boomer manages to land a multi there, there's so many ways for that to go wrong, but instead, Solar System Mad should do the job that they need to. That tank is dead, and now they have free run, basically, to do what they want to on the rest of this map, step by step. With this already being the last can poured, they can just make their way to the event.
Yeah, I completely agree. The can's already in. Boomer, Charger, and Jockey are up. I missed out what died before that, but right now they're just only going to have these 2 cappers, and I think they're going to hold. Actually, no, they're going to send the Charger and get the 2 charge.
What?
They got robbed. Coach should have flew off and got in-capped.
That is an example of the invisible walls that were put there in order to stop any meme-tastic things happening, I think, with the train. And they literally just had Coach sliding up and down the invisible wall instead of getting in-capped on the top of those railings. That is just how this game has gone, unfortunately, for Dahewanwan Shui. At this point, as the double cap does land in the back, off that smoker pole into a pounce with the Jockey landing too, but MK, just not enough at this point.
Now the bonus is too high. They have 4 sets of pills on the stage yet, Rails. I mean, this event is quite difficult to complete because you have to wait a few seconds for each one to trigger and constantly go from one side of the stadium to the other. But it was a nice rolling tri-cap there. I think tri-cap landed just for a split second before it was cleared, but they need to get a wipe as a 2-boom goes out. Jockey, Hunter, and the Charger are up right now, and it looks like they're going to hold. They got to quad them. That's what you got to do here, Rails.
Yeah, they got to go for the quad. You look at how the distance points are progressing already, though, out of that 600, and this is already part of the event being triggered once more by Nick as the fireworks are going to explode. They need to hit this quad on the SI side of things pretty much as fast as humanly possible. Hunter, Charger, Jockey, and Smoker for it, of course, as we see the survivors continuing just to hit buttons, which is exactly what they need to do when it comes to this finale. As I said, there's lots of things for them to accomplish here as they keep moving their way through the horde, but it looks as though the SI really can't get a comfortable spot to quad them so far.
No, not really. Looks like the spawns are relocating. This is probably where they should send it. The Charger's not going to be able to rocket spawn in a minute. And this is going to be the... Oh, what a ski coming out! The 2 cap does land. Actually, no, the Smoker gets juked. The Charger gets cleared before anything, but... Wow, that was a big skeet going out right there. That might have been a stumble on the other survivor, and that Charger would not have got cleared, and it could have been potential for a massive amount of damage, but... Like you said, Rails, they needed to get the wipe there. It's not. The bonus went down a little bit, and as Nick has now turned to a Spartan with his shield, and so is Ellis. Yeah. I forgot they have custom hittables or melees on this map.
Indeed, they do, and the rest of these small, necessary moves by the survivors have just been what they've needed so far in terms of their movement, right? We have a double boom going out, but that Hunter and that Charger, neither were able to land. Spit's now going to die as Ellis beats the absolute hell out of these Common with that symbol, which is amazing, of course. And now the survivors going to be moving their way back to the stage, but MK, they've already got almost half the distance points, and their bonus is still looking amazing. There is no other tank on this map.
I know the bonus is in at 592 right now. They are stacking every other hit for a quad, so they're going to get another try here. Let's see if they can land attempt number 4 on this map with their quads. Looks like the Smoker's already comfortable where he's coming from. Charger's going up above. Actually, everything's repositioning.
But yeah, and that's the one disadvantage of being able to get on top of this roof, because you look at the vertical distance between the top of where they're rocking from and where the survivors are, it's possible to get those Uzi skeets and also just get out of the way for whatever is attempting to hit. Jockey is going to land, Smoker's not going to land, Charger is going to whiff, and the Hunter is going to latch onto Coach for a split second. But once again, MK, the survivors have so much time to react in between when those rockets come in and when they actually hit the ground.
Yeah, that was a good example. Unfortunately, the Hunter got stuck in the sound system underneath the tent where they just trigger the next part of the event. It's unfortunate for him as they start the second scavenge part of this finale. Fortunate for the survivors, only a total of 4 cans with both scavenge events. As a 2-boom rolls out, right now the Spitter, it looks like it's just going to sack the Spit.
Hey, got a can.
They're trying to make a can play here, but it's not quite working as the Spit is now going to go in, but Ellis is going to move out of the way with that gas can, and it will be a partial quad sack delay, but MK, there's not a whole lot left for them to do on this. They fill this generator, and then after that, these distance points are going to start getting dangerously close to that 600-point final mark for Team Solar System on Survivor side. There is going to be one more quad attempt here as the survivors have to make their way to the stage and then work their way out back, but once again, really not a whole lot of time left. If there's ever a time to land the quad, it's going to have to be right now, which is actually a more favorable position for the SI. This Charger, though, is on ground level behind them with the Smoker going for Coach, too, but Ellis is already wise to it. Ellis is going to get pulled. Charger goes for the intercept, but collides with a table. The Skeet also went out by Nick with that Uzi, the 10-shot Uzi Skeet on that Hunter. He was completely separated, but he was able to make the play, and now they're going to push through the fence. They're going to light these fireworks in the back completely in the way that they should be, and now this is absolutely just, I think, beyond the point of where Team Dahewanwan Shui can really bring it back, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because they're going to have to wipe them before they make it into the rescue vehicle, and then they're going to need to get out with 651 bonus on top of it, and that is quite a feat in itself. Just making it with any bonus on this finale is mind-blowing. As the Spit goes out for another, just going to sack for a 6th quad attempt. Oh my gosh, how many times have we said that, Rails? How many times in one map have you said this is going to be the 6th quad attempt?
It reminds me of how Frag 4/Rehab play their SI that way too, where there are teams that really do try to go for those quads every other hit. Unfortunately, it has not been the winning scenario for Dahewanwan Shui on SI side, as this last gate is opening. This is where they're going to try to send it. The Charger does manage to land, but that Hunter this time is the one that gets taken out. We do see a rolling triple cap with that Charger landing a slam along with that Jockey and that Smoker, but the Hunter being killed prevents the quad, and now the survivors are going to be able to walk into the next round of the Luo-shen Invitational tournament here. Team Solar System MK making every map with at least one survivor, if I'm not mistaken. That's the kind of survivor performance that you need. As this Boomer jumps around the corner, Nick is swinging a symbol into absolute nowhere. Hunter's going for one final wall kick, and he's going to get team skeeted. There is the helicopter being made. A wonderful survivor performance on a neutral server by Solar System, who were favored in this match. They are going to punch their ticket into the next round of the losers bracket, and it's going to be by a total score of 3,828 so far for them to 2,301 for Team Dahewanwan Shui, and that so far is the 1,500 point gap between these teams going into that last half a round. Impressive, to say the least, to see that finale made with bonus.
Yes, impressive indeed. And right now they need, what is it, 1527 is the magic number for Dahewanwan Shui. Mathematically, it can be done, but there's no way you'll get through that finale without taking damage. It's just too long.
But yeah, and it's 1320 bonus total that way on top of the 600 distance, so it's 18 no, it's 1920 total, right? And so they need to take only 400 points of damage whatsoever to actually make it work, and that is a tall order, especially with the tank being exactly where it is. So this might be the last survivor round for Dahewanwan Dui. They've done a good job in this tournament. Of course, you like to see them playing it all the way out to with the map 5. Let's see if they can do a bit better on this finale than they have a couple of the other maps. As this hit's going to be going in, Charger is going to land onto Rochelle with the Hunter going for the intercept onto Ellis. The spit, however, is just a bit off, so it is the rolling double cap scenario once again, but this is going to be an early tank too for them to deal with.
Yes, it is. Let's see if they actually get any cans in or just run up to spawn it. Looks like they're going to be content with getting some cans in. And actually, one thing to note, Rails, is that last map there was 6 quad attempts, which means if there's 6 quad attempts, there means there were 6 other attacks. So they took at least 12 SI attacks just to get those quads, not including all the rest. So that's just how many attacks come out on this finale. It's a lot.
And there's a lot of chances for things to go wrong for the survivors as well. This hit's going to be coming in. Jockey getting a couple scratches there, trying to land onto Nick, but the Charger's going to take Rochelle instead as the smoker pull goes out onto Coach for a few ticks of damage, and there's a double boom at the end just for good measure as the survivors work their way forward. But MK, this is where they're going to try to maybe stack the cans as much as they can prior to the tank fight, and then they kill the tank and they're hoping they can just pretty quickly put all of them in. I don't know exactly if that's going to work for them. Let's see what happens here, because they also have to be careful with the horde. I think it will stop automatically though, even if they do decide to put all the cans in at once. It will be interesting to see. Not necessarily the time to experiment with it, but I'd be interested to see what happens. Survivors though are going to choose just to back up and not test that theory.
No, one thing is they couldn't retreat to the safe room safely. Right now they have a tank up. Let's see if they're going to elect to retreat and copy what Solar System have done, and it looks like they are undecided, or maybe content with just staying out here in with all the tents and the food court is basically.
Yeah, and the tank's going to be rotating to the right-hand side. It's a Charger Jockey Smoker. There is a hittable. There's 2 hittables actually over here in the corner that he could choose to go with, but he's actually not going to use them quite yet. The survivors are looking to try to find him, and he's going to have a little bit of time actually to hit these around, but the survivors then are going to hold S all the way back to the safe room, I'm fairly sure, if they can. But now, once again, they've come back out when they've decided to maybe try to transition backward to force the tank in, so this will be the commit. Smoker does spawn up and gets a pull onto Coach for the first punch. Tank still has 5k HP. Charger lands onto Nick as well. Tank is picking up a rock, landing it onto Coach, turning back around, knocking Nick all the way to the side. He still has 3k HP, throwing a rock. There's a stumble, there's a rock onto Coach. Tank is trying to catch Nick there as well, not going to, but there's a punch going out onto Rochelle. Another rock being thrown. He's gonna miss that right past Coach's face. He's under 1k HP. Ellis is kiting him in the corner, and the tank is going to die, but not before 3 pills are committed, MK, and a lot of damage has gone out. That is going to be the official GG.
Yeah, that is going to officially make it out of reach for Dahewanwan Dui. But I think Ellis thinks they need the other gas can, and they do not. So Ellis is going to have to make a quick U-turn and get back with the survivors, as they are separated right now, but only has the 2 non-cappers up at the moment. Spit's going to go for a delay. The boomer pops, and let's see if that's the first quad sack that Solar System is going to do. No, they're going to send everything from behind, actually. Charge. Oh, no. They just get
thought better of it.
Yeah, he thought better of it.
Yeah, they were looking to send that in as fast as humanly possible once again, but in that particular case, that would not probably have done a whole lot of damage to the survivors being able to gun that Charger down. However, one thing to note is that if they had picked up that last can, they actually could have used that to fill the generator during the event as well. I saw NF, who made this map, do that in a tournament match in this same kind of scenario, but they elect not to do so on Survivor side. Jockey, Hunter, Spitter, and Charger for this hit here as the survivors are trying to cross the Midnight Riders bus. It wasn't worth to have that 1 can taking up the space of maybe a gun for the rest of these hits. Let's see if this one does any kind of damage. With that Jockey going in, looking to land, not going to. There's the stumble though, going out with the pound spit going on top of Nick, and that's going to be a decent amount of damage onto him, actually. That's almost all of his perm gone. He's going to be slow, MK.
Yes, almost. Just a slight sliver of perm, even though he had a set of pills. He did not suffer any DB yet because he still has at least 1 permanent health. So even if you pop sets of pills, the DB will not be broken into unless you've been incapped or exhausted all of your permanent HP and then have popped pills. But the finale has started. Pills have been popped. Pills have been picked up. Bonus at 610. 1 proxy boom onto Rochelle. Hunter, Jockey, and Smoker are up, and it looks like, again, they're going to go for another quad rails as the quad sacks have begun.
Indeed they have, but here's the one thing about this event that we saw Solar System navigate very well. That is, they had pretty much everybody fast for the entirety of these gauntlets, and they really need to do the same thing on Dahewanwan. Listen, they need to do the same thing on Survivor side here, but this hit's already going into the point where it's like, if they can actually keep this pace, this is the only way to stay alive, because like they have 3 survivors now who are completely bleeding. With that charger managing to land, that's not what you want to see.
No, they do clear before these slams go out. Coach has made an executive decision to say, I ain't clearing you. I'm committed to doing this button, as they are going to now probably frantically go and get that last set of pills.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a scenario where they know the game is already over. They only have 1 set of pills left, and this is going to be just attrition at this point by the SI, right? Because Solar System can just wait this entire point. There's really not a chance for the survivors to play more aggressively, because that was basically what they were doing the entire game, right? But when you're in an event like this where you're not progressing through the map in a linear way, it's a completely different way of playing both Survivor and SI.
Yes, as they trigger off the stadium event, they got to go up and turn off in the Peach Pit, turn off the system in there, and then I believe the scavenge round will begin again. As they coming up? No, actually, no. I think they still have 2 more other things to turn off before they get to the scavenge part. But nonetheless, here comes the incoming quad. Let's see if Solar System can end it with style and quad the survivors.
Potentially, but they're doing a good job of staying as spread out as humanly possible, killing the horde. The thing is, though, with them bleeding, they really can't afford to stay for much longer, because they're going to have to go trigger another part of the event. With them bleeding like this, I don't know, MK, it's a tough position for the survivors now, because if they move, they know they're going to get rocketed on.
Yeah, let's say they're just going to bleed and bleed and bleed. One of the bleeders is at 48, the others, 2 of them at 60, one of them is at 82. The only person who is permanent health is Ellis. So Ellis is the only one not going to go slow from this bait. As Ellis is going to be the one to go down and be the dummy, as the rest of the survivors still stay inside.
And they sent 3 of the SI on him as well. The Jockey, the Smoker, and the Charger all going for him. There's the Hunter landing up top. Ellis is completely separated. He's going to get in-capped by that. And now this Charger is left to just try and charge. Nothing going, but there's the in-cap MK, and that's 1 survivor perma-slow now.
Yeah, I have no idea what that was about, but nonetheless, that is it. They basically send out Ellis as an offering to turn off the event as the other 3 hide inside. But now they have to go get the gas can, so they're at, let's see, it's 1, 2, 3. They have 4 more things to complete before they can ride the helicopter out. And I don't know, Rails. I think there's a chance that they might make it, but they're not going to make it with much bonus. But I think they might be able to do it, depending on if they take many more damage from this hit. As the Smoker goes in by itself, Hunter is going, I believe, first before they go with the quad sack again. Let's see if he gets a DP. He comes in onto Coach. He's going to eventually get skeeted by Rochelle. Free spit goes out, makes Rochelle slow. Jockey gets killed.
Yeah, and for Dahewanwan Dui, like, this is them still proving that they had made to this point in the tournament by playing as well as they have as a team, right? They're not giving up with it. They still want the scores to be as close as possible in this scenario, you know? So good on them for showing that kind of resilience as this is happening too, but Solar System has just proven to be the better team on this map, as we do have that charge for the in-cap onto Ellis from that high rocket. With that being the black and white in-cap as well for Ellis, with the stick going down on top of that too. There's the pull going out onto Rochelle, going to get cleared. Nick is still jumping around too, but MK, the horde, is just absolutely relentless at this point.
Yeah, his Coach is the only survivor fast, and he was the one picking up. I think Coach should have ran to do the event, but unfortunately, actually, they're going to be fast to start it, so they'll be slow on the way back, but they'll get it open quick. As now Coach is officially slow. Now they're all slow rails. Jockey, Spitter, Charger, and Hunter are the spawns in rotation.
That's going to be the Jockey going for some kind of play onto Rochelle. Not going to land it. It is a tri-cap with Charge Spit. Hunter's going in. I actually thought he could have landed on Ellis there for a second. The Charger is going to whiff. Jockey lands onto Rochelle, dragging her back into the Spit. That's going to put her on the ground, and that's going to be her first in-cap, as we do have one other survivor who is black and white. So MK, this is coming down right to the very end of it. It's going to be about a 1k point delta separating these two teams. To kind of recap a bit, for Dahewanwan Dui, like, that was the turning point of the game, I think, on map 2 with that one wipe that we saw. It was still a battle on maps 3 and 4, but the momentum really went Solar System's way when there was a stupendous opportunity for some kind of change to happen. That Charger's gonna land, the Hunter's gonna land too. There's the in-cap going out onto Rochelle and an in-cap going out onto Nick. There's just no room really to get these kinds of clears without also taking some other type of damage. There's a triple boom. Ellis is dead. That is going to be the end of the Intrepid Survivors, in Infested Souls' words, from what I remember when he casted on this match too. But that's a congratulations to Team Solar System and commiserations to Team Dahewanwan Shui for how well they played in this tournament so far. They made a fight, and honestly, MK, the game, even though these are the final scores, felt a lot closer, I think, just due to some of those opportunities that were able to be capitalized on or not in the course of this match.
Yes, I completely agree. Like you said, map 2, a little bit of a misplay there, and then on map 3, I think they probably wanted to make it with a little bit more bonus than they did. They had an opportunity to make up some points, and unfortunately they didn't, and the rest speaks for itself. I mean, all it takes is one misplay on high-level play like this, and that's it. You know? It could end the game.